Hello, this is Joey from Two Blokes from Blighty, and before we get into this episode, we're going to hear from our incredible friends over at Talking Smack. Take it away, Josh and Alex.
Hey Josh, I'm finally ready to do something fun every Wednesday.
Alex, finally, we're going to talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and much, much more, right?
Yes, but we're also going to talk Star Trek.
Make it so, my friend. Catch Talking Smack every Wednesday on your podcatcher of choice. We will see you there, smackheads.
I love Talking Smack, but they are our competitors on the Wednesday.
We're advertising the competition. On a cold winter morning, in the time before the light, in the flames of death's eternal reigns, we ride towards the fight. This is Tim from Two Blokes from Blighty. I'm joined by my brother, Joey Fitz. Joey, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Tim. It took me a second to realise what it was, but off the back of that, I am with my dragon forceful brother, Tim. How are you feeling, Tim?
There's a dragon D's nuts. There's a joke in there somewhere. I can't think of it right now.
Dragon D's nuts. Tim, it's a little bit different to a normal Two Blokes from Blighty recording for two reasons.
Yep.
One, it's a Sunday.
Yep.
We're recording this a mere 3 days before the episode is released.
Mm-hmm.
Normally we try and get a solid 7. This is also our 4th episode back to back to back.
Yeah, we did a quad recording today.
How are you feeling?
My throat hurts a little bit, I won't lie.
Gonna keep the energy going, gonna keep the vibes positive.
Yeah, absolutely. I always have a good time with the
we always start in the same way, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do our jingle for the quiz.
Pub quiz question of the week. Not a jingle, that's a sound effect at best.
What we have there is a fucking jingle, Tim.
I'm going to give you 3 categories. You can pick from one.
Wow, Tim's done his homework.
I have. You can have general knowledge, video games,
okay,
or a riddle.
Oh, I want to go video games, but I'm going to say riddle.
Riddle, okay.
The horse is called Friday.
That's always the answer. You're in a square house with all 4 walls facing south. You look out the window and see a bear. What color's the bear?
Brown. No,
Not brown.
White.
Why is it white?
Because it's facing south and the polar bears are found on the South Pole.
You're along the right lines.
Well, tell me the answer and then give me the fucking video game question.
It's white because you're on the North Pole. Polar bears are on the north.
All 4. So when you said all 4 windows, all 4 walls are facing south, I imagined it in my head and I was thinking, well, that would just be a straight line.
This is the worst Sims build.
So it was a polar bear. Okay, cool. Let's hear the video game question.
Cool. Name all 4 of Pac-Man's ghosts.
Ghosty, Woasty, Broasty, and Toasty.
Not it, but I like them. We'll come back to that at the end of the episode.
Sweet. Tim, this episode is throwing me off a bit because we're recording on the 3rd of November. How is it November?
How is it November?
When does this release?
Wednesday, the 6th, the day after the election.
Wednesday?
Tim and Joey talking loud. Holidays that make them proud. Calendar check every week. Which day holds the peak? Valentine's is on a pivot. Christmas Eve sometimes hits it. New Year's Eve can be found smiling on a Wednesday round. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Time to shake the mood. Celebrate whatever's there. Make the middle week a fair.
I'm never ever going to get bored of that jingle.
It's such a good jingle.
And if anyone listening thinks they can recommend a better jingle, you're wrong.
Do your best, but
Do your best. You are wrong. Tim, I said to you 2.5 hours ago when we started recording that there are only 3 days for the 6th of November, but
Yep.
all 3 of them could win.
Interesting.
We start with National Saxophone Day.
Already a good start.
Very good start. We move on to National Stress Awareness Day.
It's important. Yeah.
We move on finally to the inevitable winner, National Nachos Day.
That it solves the second one.
Be stressed, but
Eat nachos.
have your nachos.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, and Tim, silly question: how would you like people to celebrate?
Get some nachos and send a photo to us. I want to see salsa. I want to see melted cheese. I want to see guac. Give me the works.
Don't like guac.
Oh no, I love guac.
I also don't really like sour cream.
Sour cream's hit and miss.
I would have mayo.
You're a wrong one.
Is that bad?
That's really it's mayonnaise and crisps, brother.
Is that disrespectful to the people of Mexico?
Mexico? That probably was, but and now suddenly you're higher on the ranking than me.
But I like the rest of nachos. I feel like if you get good nachos, right, I will put up with guac.
Sure.
Guac to me is a bit shit. So avocado is not my bag.
I know,
But
I like avocado.
if you get like a proper homemade tortilla chip, none of this like Doritos or buy in a bag things. If you make proper tortilla chips, makes the difference.
It do.
It do.
Especially in the air fryer.
Oh, I've never done that.
Yeah, we do it in the Ninja all the time.
That's so exciting.
I know.
Tim, you have said there is quite a long history, so we're going to jump straight into that.
Okay.
But you did say you might span it over 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
The story is that long that we might. I'm going to try and get it into one. I'll be honest, I'm not at all hopeful.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get into history, see how it goes. History.
As we all know, it's election day in the US as of yesterday. So I wanted to find a election-based story. And I think I found the craziest one. November 7th, 1876.
Mhm.
During the era of Reconstruction. Do you know about the era of Reconstruction?
Is everything broken and they built it again?
They built it back up. No, it was a period in which the US was attempting to work out how to integrate millions of newly freed African Americans into social, political, and labor systems. So slavery had just been abolished. What do we do with these people, essentially?
Okay.
The then president at the time, Ulysses S.S. Grant, considers running for a third term as president, but then decided not to after his cabinet was accused heavily of corruption and the country's economic state was in such a state that he wasn't invested in fixing it. At the time, this was called the Great Depression, but after the Great Depression of the 1930s, this became known as the Panic of 1873. Okay.
Wait, how can it be the Great Depression of the 1930s? You said after the Great Depression of the 1930s.
They renamed this.
Oh, they renamed it. Got you. Okay.
Yeah. So, of course, the Democrats, the Republicans, they select their front runners to run for election. The Republicans select Rutherford B. Hayes, a front runner for the Republicans, described as a Civil War hero. Stories told of his bravery, and he was reportedly injured 5 times during combat in Civil War.
Okay.
They also chose William Wheeler as his running mate. Hayes is quoted as saying, "Who is Wheeler?"
Cool.
Solid start. Given the economic climate, the Democrats were confident in their chances at the US election. And given that the panic had happened under a Republican government, Samuel Tilden was elected to be their representative. Tilden was referred to as a Bourbon Democrat, who is someone who believed in the freedom of trade and the gold standard. And Thomas Hendricks was nominated to be his running mate. No notable quotes there. Important to note, at this time, effectively, you know how, without wanting to paint this with such a broad brush, Democrats are a lot more liberal and Republicans are a lot more conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, other way around.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, complete swap at some point in history.
Strange.
Yeah, very, very strange. So where was I? Here we are. At this time, candidates would not go out and campaign like they do today. This is done by their local constituents. So essentially, your local representative for the Democrat Party would go out and campaign to you as to why you should vote for the leader of the Democrat Party.
Okay, got you.
Sure. Hayes was against slavery, but also against Lincoln's policies. And Tilden was kind of against slavery.
I feel like if you're kind of against slavery, you're probably in favor of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not against it, you're in favor of it, really, aren't you?
Not
There's no
mad on
real
Hayes
indifference
so
on that
far.
topic.
Not really mad on Hayes.
No. The South had a lot of resistances during the era of the Reconstruction, with groups like the KKK instigating oppression and intimidation against minority groups, while people in the North were generally richer than those in the South. One person in the North had the equivalent of today's money, $100 billion.
Okay, cool.
Through monopolizing money, through monopolizing businesses, rather. Let's have a look. At this point, election officials are being bought off, so there is a lot of corruption in the US politics. And the Republicans' iconography at the time was a thing called the Bloody Shirt. Now, the Bloody Shirt was a story of a Republican congressman, Benjamin Butler, in Massachusetts, holding up a bloodstained shirt during a speech for an hour. The shirt had belonged to a carpetbagger who had been badly beaten by the Ku Klux Klan. Also of note, this never happened. The speech happened, but there was no shirt. Shirt didn't exist. So
Hold on. Right-wing people making up things to win elections.
weird, I know.
We've come so far.
I feel like we're learning a lot about history. Now, Hayes. Hold on. Hayes supporters would attack Tilden, calling him a thief, a briber, and a drunken syphilitic, which is a hell of an insult. They would also bring up his connections to the railroad industry, calling him corrupt, questioned his intelligence, and sometimes referred to him as very dull.
I like how that's like the worst thing in there.
That's the nail in the coffin right there. Now, at this time, it was also quite widely known that the media was pretty shit. Journalists would post heresy and lies as fact with full knowledge that it would impact readers and sway opinions, and partly because there was no way to fact check the papers.
We've come so far. This doesn't sound like Fox News at all.
The New York Times published an article saying that Tilden had committed tax fraud, which was completely untrue, but other papers around the country just ran with the story. Hayes, despite his stance on slavery, was actually a very modest man. So modest, in fact, that he refused to vote for himself. So,
Did he just not vote?
he just didn't vote for himself.
But he just didn't vote at all.
I guess not.
What an idiot.
Tilden was so opposed to campaigning that when people accused him of corruption, his response was to stay at home, saying it would be undignified to refute the charges.
We could learn a lot from this man. Wait, he's the anti-slavery one, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we could learn a lot from him.
Hayes, at some point during the campaign, went on to take a vow of silence.
Okay.
So
Cool.
now, in this presidential campaign, we've got someone who refuses to talk and someone who refuses to leave their house.
Cool.
When asked, Hayes refused to comment on his candidacy. Republicans are now worried that this total non-commitment would cost them the election. Hayes also said that if elected, he would only ever serve one term. The election was described as being so pathetic that neither candidate wanted to win.
Yeah, I get it.
Despite this, there's still a bunch of underhand tactics being used. In Florida, railroad operators threatened a 25% surcharge on anyone who voted Republican. Some railroad operators threatened to fire employees who went to Democrat rallies. A lot of this is railroad focused, I found in my research. Violence was pretty common. In Florida, one group led by a former Confederate general went to their local senator and said that if a single white person was killed on election day, they would kill him. Now, we're going to go to August 1st, 1876. So we're slightly back in time at this point by a couple of months. Colorado becomes America's newest state. Democrats had the choice as to whether or not to allow Colorado to become a state before or after the election, and they gave it 3 electoral votes.
Okay.
Sure. One congressman for Colorado convinced the Democrats to allow them into the union, saying that they would vote for Tilden. Upon being let into the union, the Colorado legislature immediately voted for Hayes.
Dick move. I like it. I
Sure.
mean, not that he voted for Hayes. Hayes is the worst.
Now, the violence, I've just written a line here of the violence in South Carolina started in July 1877. A group of white people attacked a black National Guard militia in what became known as the Hamburg Massacre. President Grant dispatches thousands of troops throughout October to keep the peace, fueling the bloody shirt speech as mentioned before.
Right.
Election day approaches. The majority thought Tilden would win, including Hayes. Election day was on Tuesday, November 7th, and someone who went to visit Hayes said that he was indifferent about winning or losing. So he really doesn't give a shit.
That's what you want to hear.
That's what you want to hear in a presidential candidate. Tilden, while in New York, was out greeting people who thought he was now president. Word was that he'd won New Jersey, New York, Indiana, and Connecticut, but it would take days to know the outcome. This did not stop the press moving forward. Democratic papers reported that Tilden had won because of Republican greed and plunder. The New York Times declared Hayes the winner, so whoever reported on the winner, just depending on the paper's political leaning. So, when the totals came in, Hayes had won 18 states and 166 electoral votes. Tilden had won 17 states and 184 electoral votes. However, to be successful in the election then, you needed 185. So, there's 3 states that were too close to call. Florida, Louisiana, and South Carolina. 20 electoral votes between them, and Tilden had won the vote by 250,000 votes. Democrats tried to use this to declare themselves the winner. Republicans accused Democrats of intimidation to win those 3 states. Tilden just needed to win one of those states to become president.
Mm-hmm.
The day after the election, in Florida, a train carrying the ballots had derailed.
Suspicious.
The Republican governor said that the KKK had sabotaged the train to help the Democrats. When the votes, when the count started beginning, both parties immediately started throwing fraud accusations. On that note, the 3 states in question, Florida, Louisiana, South Carolina, were under federal control, meaning their governors were Republican. The election board of these states were also Republican-led and also very corrupt at the time. They had a history of overturning elections, and before this election, the board had purged 8,000 Democrats from voter rolls, and they made an offer. So they then made an offer to Democrats for $1 million to certify that their vote had gone to the Republican. The Democratic National Party rejected this offer, and similar reports have started happening on both sides of the debate.
Okay.
Despite this, the National Republican chairman had reported that Hayes had now won and was now president. The Democrats pushed for Tilden to take action, putting out a statement for residents to be vigilant against voter fraud. Hayes met with Tilden, and they agreed to form a bipartisan committee that would oversee the 3 states. Now, this committee was made up of 15 people. There was 5 Supreme Justices. Let me get this right. Either way, there was Supreme Justice, 5 congressmen, and 5 senators. Sorry, 7 congressmen, 7 senators, making 15. 7 of the people would be Democrats. 7 of them would be Republican, and 1 of them would be true independent.
Okay.
So, I think, I know that's not much of a conclusion, but I think if we draw the line in the story there, that sets up nicely into next week for us.
Okay. You
So we've
will
got
have
this
to do a
committee.
very quick wrap up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Quick rundown next week.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Where do you think this election's going to go?
In the bin, I imagine. It's been a shambles from start to finish.
Right, let me put a little divider just here so I know where to go to from next time.
Okay, Tim, we're going to move on to jokes. Is that okay?
Yes. Yeah, totally fine.
Don't forget the trumpet at the end.
That's pretty funny, to be fair. That joke was weak. I misread that as that's the joke of the week.
Welcome to our Joke of the Week section where Tim and I tell each other jokes. The object here is for when you're being told a joke, not to laugh. The other side of that is when you're telling a joke to make the other person laugh. If we tell a joke that makes the other person laugh, the segment is over and that joke is declared the joke of the week. Tim, I have 7 jokes.
I also have 7.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. Some of mine you might need to beep. I've gone for quite crass humour this week.
Okay.
So,
thank you for adding editing time into a very short turnaround.
my girlfriend dressed up as a policewoman and told me that I was under arrest for suspicion of being too good in bed. After 2 minutes, all the charges were dropped due to a lack of evidence.
I think I laughed then.
Oh, you did laugh.
Fuck's sake. Well,
First joke. Wow, that was short.
I'm so disappointed in
That's
myself.
pretty funny. That joke was weak. I misread that as that's the joke of the week.
I think I just forgot where I was.
Just
Like
laughed
it's
at the
late.
first thing you
I
heard.
just laughed and tell the joke of the week, Tim.
My girlfriend dressed up as a policewoman and arrested me for being on suspicion of too good in bed. After 2 minutes, all the charges were dropped due to a lack of evidence.
Well, we've got all of our jokes saved for the next episode.
Yeah,
so
that's recycling people.
no worries there, Tim.
Yeah,
I added something into the running order, which is stupid shit I found on Reddit.
yeah. Talk to me about this.
Okay, so when we recorded last week, it was October the 30th.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It was for October the 30th. The episode we were meant to record this was October 30th, so I thought I'd find you some Halloween stuff.
Ooh,
Halloween. Obviously, that
Ooh.
is long gone now.
that's gone now. Yeah.
But have you ever heard of the subreddit 2-sentence horror?
Yes, it's fucking amazing. Some of them. I've also seen the shitty version of it.
Well, I have for you a mixture of the two. I'm going to give you a flavour of 2-sentence horror, and then I'm going to give you what I really wanted to show you, which is bad 2-sentence horror. Okay? So, for an example,
Yeah.
real 2-sentence horror, and I'm speaking like this, so I remind myself to put some spooky background
Ooh.
noise in when I do this.
Ooh.
Tim, all my life, my parents had told me not to open the basement door, but I got curious and disobeyed them. What is that glowing ball in the sky, and why does it hurt my eyes?
Oh, he was in the basement.
It's subverting your expectation. Are you
Wow.
scared?
That is a twist. I don't know if I'm scared. That was a twist.
You ready for another one?
I'm ready.
I framed the first letter I got as a police officer from the woman thanking me after I'd supported her through her daughter's suicide. I passed it in my hallway every day for nearly 8 years before realizing the handwriting was the same as on the girl's suicide note.
Ooh.
She
It's
killed the
a
daughter.
murder.
Ooh.
Ooh. That feels
These
like
are
a very poorly thought out plan from the mother.
Yeah, these are shit, right?
At least type up the letter or something.
These are bad, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give you one more of these. The music again.
Yep.
When the kidnapper made me guess where he kept my daughter, I went in the basement and he said, "Correct," allowing me to see her. But what I found was her severed head in there. I learned that every other choice would have been correct as well.
Ooh, all the parts are in the doors.
Yeah, it reminds me of that Max and Paddy bit where my wife got hit by a combine harvester.
She's buried over there and over
Over
there. Absolutely
Well-
peak joke.
I think these were rubbish, right? I
Mhm.
think they are edgelords thinking they're scary, putting shit on Reddit.
I really hope this is the part where you tell me that we're now going to go to the bad short two sentence horror.
Yes.
Amazing.
So, bad 2-sentence horror is brilliant, right?
I'm going to subscribe to it right now.
No, don't go near it because you might see some of them. Subscribe afterwards.
Sure.
Some of them are funny because they are so stupid. Some of them, one of them in particular, is written in such broken English that it's really funny.
Okay.
So the first one is, I'm so glad to not have 700,000 spiders in my bloodstream anymore. Nuh-uh, said the 700,000 spiders in my bloodstream.
Nuh-uh.
The next one I really liked. Are you ready?
Yep.
Man, my bones are so warm, I said. Not for long, said the bone chiller.
These are way better than the first ones.
Quite a lot of these are taken, and the subreddit is screenshots of 2-sentence horror. So people have submitted these to the real one, thinking they're scary. So I've got 3 more for you.
Yep.
And these are my favorite 3. I'd like you to tell me which of yours is the favorite.
Which one's going to haunt my dreams?
I think it'll be this one. Ouch. My ass fell off. Then this is the one in broken English that I found it so hard to write down because it's so funny. This was on 2-sentence horror. Dentist said, "Why your teeth's red? I eated strawberry, tomato, I say."
So he ate fruit and vegetables, and that's the scary thing.
And finally, my favorite one that I might need to do a few takes. Are you ready?
Yep.
I really, really needed to. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I really, really needed.
Nope. He's trying again.
Okay. Okay. I really, really needed to piss.
What day is it to get there?
Sorry. I really, really needed to piss. That would be a problem if not for the fact that my stupid neighbour Darren superglued my urethra shut in my sleep.
That's a bad neighbour.
Oh.
I've just pulled up.
Tim, I'm red like tomato strawberry.
Tomato strawberry. Don't go to the dentist.
Oh,
I've just pulled up the subreddit as you've ended that. I love this kind of thing. I've just posted in the chat one that I think is really good. If you could just read that for me.
I want a snack. Spider in the kitchen has a knife.
That's it.
It's good.
Good.
Oh God.
You good?
Tim, I think I'm okay. Let's talk something more fun.
Yep.
Tim, movie jingle. Go.
Movies.
Tim, what did we watch this week?
We watched The Terrifier.
And did you love it?
Kind of hated it.
Did you?
I absolutely hated it.
Okay. Well, let's go. You can tell the story in 16 seconds. Go.
I can half that. Scary clown is a murderer. The end.
That was 5 seconds.
Yeah. So I recognize that this film is definitely paying a lot of homage to grindhouse cinema. So the gore and the violence is intentionally a bit schlocky. You know, it's a little bit cheesy and a bit hammy, and I get that's part of the charm. And they were definitely working with a very small budget. However, I am of the opinion that movies need plot, and this film did not have plot.
It did have a plot.
It did not. Scary Clown was in a building with woman who was Kill, and her friend was Kill, and the janitor was Kill, and then the friend escaped, and so did Clown. The end.
Well, now you spoiled it. And didn't
Yes,
even do a
spoilers for the
spoiler warning.
Terrifier if you're particularly invested in the lore.
Do you know, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great fun.
I have some positives. It's not 100% negatives, and I've just seen that Terrifier 4 has an IMDb page and it's set to come out in 2026.
Well, Terrifier 3 is in the cinema at the moment.
Yeah. So this film, it's definitely trying to make a new iconic villain, like horror villain, like your Ghostface and your Jason Voorhees and your Freddy Kruegers and your Pinheads and whatever.
Mhm. Art the Clown.
Art the Clown. And I don't think he's particularly iconic. Maybe if this film came out in the 80s, he might be. Maybe. But I think they've kind of missed the boat on that. However, what I will say to this film's big credit, the guy who was playing Art the Clown did actually a really good job. He has zero dialogue, and obviously he's a psychotic murder clown, so you don't really know what he's thinking. But he is very good at making intentions clear. It's his performance was actually really good. Everyone else's was kind of terrible.
Were they terrifying?
Well, one of them was teared in half.
Yeah, that bit was a very uncomfortable watch.
So, for if you're squeamish, I'd say plug your ears, but you're probably listening on headphones.
Skip. Excuse me, I'm still choking from that 2-sentence horror and Darren super gluing my urethra. Which, probably would have fit in this film. If you're squeamish, skip ahead maybe a minute.
Yeah, sure.
4 taps of that 15-second button now.
From about
you just wait a second.
Yeah.
And then go. Explain the scene.
So there's a scene where a woman is hung upside down naked, and Art the Clown takes a hacksaw and cuts her in two from vagina to head. My favorite thing about this scene was a comment that I saw on Letterboxd that just said, "I don't think that's how the magician's saw a person in half trick works."
I don't think it is.
No. The other thing as well is this film, despite its flaws, did have a couple of really nice shots. There is a scene where Art the Clown, and spoilers for the Terrifier, Art the Clown shoots what seems to be our main character lady in the face like 5 or 6 times while she's lying down on the ground. And the scene where it's just Art the Clown on like this blue backing holding a gun is actually really nicely framed. And given his the background's all lit in a cool blue lighting, and I say cool as in temperature, not damn, this is sick or whatever. But it's like a cold blue lighting, and his white face paint and mask, with his white suit and the kind of black features on the suit, along with the red blood splatters across the white, actually makes a lot of really nice contrast and a really cool shot. It's also the first time we actually see Art the Clown frown in this movie, and I thought that was kind of a cool moment. And then we had the crazy lady who just ran around and who ran to the janitor and was like, "There is a scary clown," and the janitor was like, "There isn't a scary clown," and then he gets his head beaten in by the scary clown.
Yes.
We go back to about what I expect for this movie.
I think you're putting it on too much scrutiny. It's a stupid slasher film. It's clearly low budget. I think that it was never intended to pull up trees. I think Art the Clown is an interesting and very well portrayed villain. This isn't the first movie Art has been in. There's been 2 before this.
I knew there was a short film called Terrifier. What's the second one?
One called All Hallows Eve from 2008.
I've heard of that one. I've not seen it though.
I think it was shot well. It built a lot of suspense. I think the practical effects were unbelievable in places. I feel like you are wanting too much from what is just a stupid good time slasher movie.
Maybe. I mean, I don't do well with gore these days. I get a little
Well,
bit
next week we're
squeamish.
going to watch The Terrifier 2.
Wow,
Which
great.
I have heard is wilder and wackier than The Terrifier 1.
Well, I've heard the Terrifier 2 actually has a plot, which is good.
Okay.
That's an improvement, but I don't mind Grindhouse kind of gore. So for the audience who don't know, Grindhouse is kind of a genre of cinema where it's excessively violent in a very corny and quite clearly budgeted way.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell it's a movie. Like, yes, the things that are happening to the people are horrific, but it's done in such a way where it's like it's not immersive horror, if that makes sense.
I used to love Grindhouse films.
I still do.
Planet Terror.
Planet Terror is a really good one. Death Proof, another really good one.
Is okay. Death Proof is not memorable compared to other Grindhouse films, in my opinion.
Planet Terror is an amazing example. If anyone wants
Mm-hmm.
Grindhouse, go for that. I'm just looking at the best Grindhouse films just to see if there's anything else that I've seen on here. American Grindhouse, Switchblade Sisters. Apparently, The Warriors is classed as a Grindhouse.
The Warriors.
Apparently,
Nah.
I don't agree with either. That's something we should watch. Though, is The Warriors.
Come out and play.
But yeah, I understand why people like this movie. I just don't think it was for me. I don't have a particular vested interest to go and see the rest, and it's not because clown spooky. It just didn't have a plot, and the suspense was entirely kind of spoiled by the first murder or two.
Agree to disagree.
Sure. One thing I did read though, the opening pizza place.
Yeah.
That was originally supposed to be a burger joint.
Right.
But on set, they were going to film, and on set, the director and producer found out that the two lead actresses in that scene are vegetarian.
Oh.
So they had to go and find a pizza place.
Oh, there you go.
Neat.
Nice. Tim, would you recommend it?
Probably not. Probably not. I think it's for a very specific group of people, but I don't think I could recommend it.
Okay. How many blokes out of Blighty would you give it?
Probably like a half.
Like 2.5 out of 10.
What did I give it on IMDb? Let me do a check. Why can't I just click on the thing? I gave it a 3 out of 10 on IMDb.
Wow, you are very harsh.
I didn't like
give
it.
6.5 out of 10.
Oh,
I thought it was good. Thought it was fun. I think you're right. There isn't like a very deep plot to it, but I don't think it needed to be. It was a Halloween slasher film, low budget, great antagonist, mad moments, utterly memorable in places, and yeah, I think I will watch the others.
fair enough.
That was what I say. So that's our movie section.
Yeah, and next movie section, we're going to watch Woman of the Hour.
Woman? I've never even heard of Woman of the Hour.
It's a relatively recent thing starring Anna Kendrick, and it's based on a real story about this woman who went on this game show, The Dating Game, if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
And she agreed to go on this date with this person, and it then turned out that he was actually a serial killer, and when he was on that show, he was actually mid-spree.
Ah.
So it sounds really bloody interesting.
Sounds good. I like Anna Kendrick too. I think she's very, very good.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Woman of the Hour.
Woman of the Hour.
The R, Tim.
The R.
Where would you like to go next?
I mean, I wrote down a lot of election stuff this week, and I wanted to talk about the election, but to be honest, I think everyone's probably a bit sick of it in the States, and the people who are here probably aren't really as invested in it as much as someone like myself.
Josh explained to me a bit more about what the Electoral College is, and I was confused.
It's a very broken system.
It doesn't sound like a good one.
No.
No.
I did find an article about New York City getting a single person Pizza Hut restaurant.
Oh yeah,
Did you? I don't know if you saw this.
I didn't.
Basically, a kiosk for like it's got a kitchen and everything, but only one person can sit in the restaurant at a time.
Is it called Sad Pizza Hut?
You would think.
That is really sad.
It's really sad. I don't know. I mean, I'd go to it for the experience. That's about it.
I don't know that I would. That's really sad.
I'd give it a go.
I don't like it, to be honest.
No.
Tim,
Yeah.
Pokemon,
Oh yeah.
talk to me.
New app came out. Babe, wake up! New app dropped.
Yeah, okay.
Pokemon TCG Pocket, trading card game. Open up booster packs, do some trades, battle your friends. I'm pretty addicted.
Good fun.
So you're not at all into Pokemon these days, right?
No, I'm not.
So the fact that this is a free to play game, and yes, it does have some microtransactions, but it's purely like, hey, if you want to speed up timers, get these transactions. You can earn everything to speed up the timers in game by doing the game, which is great. We love that. I have been a TCG guy for a while, trading card game for those, not in the anagram gang or the acronym gang.
Gang.
Yeah. So I like my TCGs, and this is very much scratching an itch for me without me needing to pay a penny, which is great. More of that, please.
You should get the TCG shop simulator.
You've told me about this, and every time I go to look at it, I'm like, I can't justify the price.
It's in Steam Family.
Yeah, but I'd want to play it on the Steam Deck.
Can you not do that in Steam Family?
I don't know.
Right. It's
I'll give
really
it a go.
good.
I mean, it looks fun, and I definitely just installed the Pokemon mod.
It is fun. I had the Pokemon mod, but now I don't remember. I don't know. An update broke it, and I don't remember how to reinstall it, so I just play with the normal.
Still good?
Yeah, still good.
Still good.
Good.
But yeah, you've been playing it as someone who's not into Pokemon or TCGs.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
I like it when the card be shiny.
The card do be shiny sometimes.
Sometimes it be shiny. I basically just screenshot it and send it to you. Like, is this good?
Well, you sent us a really cool Slowpoke card earlier.
Slowpoke's funny because he's a fun, stupid guy.
He's just a big dumb idiot, and we love him.
Yeah, and the card reflects that nicely.
Yeah,
good. Are these real cards?
These are real cards. Yeah.
Okay.
So the expansions that they're getting in so the current expansion that's in the game is one called Genetic Apex. That's a real expansion. That is the most recent expansion, I think, at the time of recording. And what they're doing is anytime an expansion comes out, they're adding it to the TCG app as well.
Oh, nice.
Which is great. So all these cards are real.
Well, the thing is with Pokemon things and phones, like, I remember the big boom when Pokemon Go came out, and I think you still play it, right?
Every day.
Nerd. And, like, I thought no one played it anymore. I thought it was like a 10 minutes of fame thing that people do. But the park nearby where we live is full of people who have like 3 or 4 battery packs for their phone, and they will spend the full day walking around the park catching Pokemon, and good for them.
Well, they're most likely selling accounts, which is how they're making their money.
Well, no, because they're not doing it all day, every day. It's just the weekend.
Oh, it's just the weekend.
You can tell by the people doing it that they're not doing it to sell the account.
Oh, okay.
There's a man there that wears he wears the Dragon Ball Z uniform thing that Goku wears.
What, the gi?
He wears a t-shirt with that.
Oh, okay. I thought he just went around in a gi.
I've seen him upwards of 20 times, and he's always wearing the same shirt. He's like the Simpsons, one outfit.
Unless specifically called for otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless it's a bonus episode. Tim, let's keep it short.
Yeah. It's
Talk
late.
to me about your quiz question of the week.
Oh, yeah. Quiz question of the week. I've lost the question. Oh, yeah. It was name Pac-Man's ghosts.
I don't know.
It is Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde.
A new Clyde.
Yeah,
Oofty, Goofty, Shoofty, and Boofty.
that's them.
Tim, anyone you want to shout out?
You know what, Dad? Because he called me and talked to me about Oofty Goofty the other day.
That's nice. Shout out
Yeah.
to Dad.
Hi, Dad.
I'd like to shout out Dan from Casting Views, Josh from Talking Smack, all the lovely folks in the Podpack Collective, and Alex for being a bloody good guy.
Big kissable man.
Mwah.
Why?
Tim, anything you want to say?
Take that, you bastards.
Take that, you bastards. We'll see you in a week's time.
Bye.
Bye.